Good afternoon, ladies, and thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Salama Buso. I'm from the US in the Capital Commerce Department. To those who are joining us for the first time, welcome. This is a group where we focus on leadership, leadership, studying in the US, STEM, STEM, etc. This is a group where young people of executive, where we equip young people of executive knowledge and allow them to share their views, based on the by everything about them. So, to those, so it's all that and do it and empower young people through various things about the leadership. And I have even director of Black Mamba Chilli, also mostly known for its chill jam and chutney, and she is also our ideal. Claudia, welcome and thank you for owning our interview. I'm so thrilled to have you.
Thank you so much, Zama, for having me here and for the lovely introduction. So hopefully I can, answer some questions about entrepreneurship, about our journey with Black Mamba as well.
Okay, thank you so much. So before we just I'd like to if you have to go to our audience, many are and share on Zoom. If you have any questions based on the topic, please be part of the session. Then we'll definitely answer those questions. So just like I had mentioned earlier, that today about entrepreneurship, young people acquire self-confidence, innovation, and creativity. And this is ability to assist them take initiative. So today we're going to also have Claudia. Hope she's going to give us a background about her journey as the managing director of Black Mamba Chilli and forming the Black Mamba Chilli.
Okay, Zama, could you let me know if you can hear me well? Because I can hear you a little bit sort of like cut. Can you hear me well?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, good. So maybe it's an issue also only on my side. So just to give you a summary of the Black Mamba story and my story as an entrepreneur, I am what I like to call an accidental entrepreneur. It was not on my books. It's not as a lot of people that actually know from the beginning. They're very driven to manage their own businesses, but it wasn't the case. I think it was more of a calling for purpose and to do positive change. And that's how the entrepreneurial journey found me instead of I found the entrepreneurial journey. I arrived to Eswatini in 2008 as a volunteer. I always had this dream of coming to Africa, and I got the opportunity to come and work with an amazing social business that was also started by a woman entrepreneur. Business is called Gone Rural, that everybody would be very familiar with. So it was great because I landed in Gone Rural, where I could work helping them with their marketing strategies. So it was a volunteering work, but it was a very specific volunteering for capacity building for the local people of Gone Rural to improve on certain things. That was sort of my specialty. Marketing is what I've always been doing before even coming to Eswatini. And that experience sort of changed my life, and coming to Africa as well. I could see the potential for positive impact, working with rural communities mostly, because that's what Gone Rural does. They work with grassroots communities, teach them how to use the skills that they have into making products that would be appealing for international markets. And actually working with women and seeing how amazing and strong and resilient women are in this country. From me to decide to stay here. So I literally cut my life. I was living in Italy back then, and I just decided no longer, I'm going to move to Africa. I'm going to move to Eswatini. And then a year down the line, because I worked for development for a little bit with an organization called TechnoServe, but a year down the line, my now husband, he's always been crazy about chilies. and he was the one who created Black Mamba as a brand, as a name, but he created it and never did much with it. But then if you mix someone that is really willing to change the world and someone that is obsessed with chilies, the result is a social business called Black Mamba that is still going to make hot products with a sort of a strong appeal from the marketing side, but with a great and a strong sustainability component, which is what's the reason why Black Mamba was created, just to support the development of rural communities and to do a business that would be kind to the planet. And that's why I say I was never in my books, never to be an entrepreneur, but I thought creating Black Mamba will allow me to work for positive change and for purpose.
That's a very interesting, you're saying so much interesting because I'm looking at the fact that you first began the post study by doing volunteering, and most young people hardly want to volunteer. What can you say or share with young people about volunteering?
Sorry, Zama, could you repeat? I couldn't hear you well. It's a little bit cut, sorry.
Oh, it's okay. What can you share with young people? Because most young people hardly volunteer. So what can you share with the young people about volunteering, the advantages of volunteer?
Oh, I think it's great. Like sometimes in life, I don't know if everybody feels that, but I guess we all have at some point in life questions about, are we doing what we're supposed to be doing? Why am I here on earth? What is my purpose? And some people have that very young. I think every decade, when you turn 20, when you turn 30, all of a sudden it's like a big decade of your life that is finished and you're like, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? So again, I've seen that in a lot of people, and my way, when I had my 30-year crisis, that is when I came to Swaziland, it was that sort of like realization that I want to do something different. I want to make a positive impact. And the best way, I think, for me back then was to volunteer in a continent that I was obsessed with. Why? I don't know why. Like people have this idea of very idealized idea of Africa, and I had that. But then I knew that I wanted to make something different, and I knew that I wanted to do purpose. And I think volunteering was a great way for me to really understand the changes that you could do in the world. I've always, that's my mantra in life: be the change you want to see in the world. It's very easy to say things need to change, but you need to do something and do a proactive role about it. So I think being a volunteer allows you to explore those options. And then once you explore what it's there, you can probably already focus on what makes more sense and what's closer to your heart and to your skills. Because it's very nice to be passionate about it, but you need to be able to learn or to actually use those skills that you have as well.
Speaking of doing something that you have passion with, in the past 2 years, we've experienced COVID-19. And what are the advantages and disadvantages that you share with young people out there on being entrepreneurship?
I think moments of crisis are usually great moments for entrepreneurs, because at some point you might be having already a business that is working fine and you tend to sleep in a comfort zone. It's like everything is working, so you don't necessarily need to innovate or to create. But then all of a sudden you get put in something like a world pandemic and we all threw our hands in the air. What is it going to do? What is going to happen? But then you need to adapt. So in the case of Black Mamba, we were very, very lucky. I think I'm very fortunate because we were already well positioned for a crisis of this sort for two reasons. One of them, because one thing that spiked incredibly during the pandemic is people wanted to stay at home and eat at home. And when you want to eat at home, you want to eat with your favorite chili sauce. So we were actually very lucky because there were a lot of, like, especially handcraft businesses in the country and tourist sector that is very important in the country that were badly affected, while Black Mamba in that sense were not. I mean, we actually grew during the pandemic, which was good, but I think it's also because we pivoted the business when we needed to. Again, we were in a comfort zone because things were working and everything was kind of fine. And then during COVID, one thing that we started doing is we need to reach more people. We need people to know that we exist. And we started being much more proactive on social media, and we started being much more proactive in building systems. You know, sometimes you can run as an entrepreneur, you can run your business with an Excel spreadsheet and your brain, and that's it. But while the business grow, you need to start sort of creating the systems, because one thing that is, it's a curse for entrepreneurs, is that you know everything about your business, and we tend to not delegate and micromanage. And it's horrible because you end up doing the job of 10 people. So building systems was something that we started doing during COVID to allow us to grow in a more organized way. And I think the second thing that was very good for us is because we work with communities, rural communities in Eswatini that are already building resilience. One of the things that we do, we work with a local NGO called Guba, and Guba trains the rural farmers, the local farmers in Mount Kearns, in something called permaculture. So permaculture is a way of growing your food without external inputs. So basically, one of the main things is organic farming in a way, because you don't use pesticides or you don't use any artificial, what's the word? I forgot. Like the other things that you put on the plants, not the pesticides, but the fertilizers. Thank you. But you literally make everything yourself. So resilience is one thing that the COVID crisis brought us. You need to learn to be resilient. But our farmers were already very advanced on the path to resilience. So on COVID, I think with the pivot to more use of technology and things that would create innovative ways to reach new markets, and the fact that we were food, that was the lucky side, and the fact that all our rural communities were already on the journey towards being very resilient. So it was good for us. We learned a lot of things, but I think we were also very lucky.
Okay, that's a really interesting. Let me add those are very interesting take homes during COVID. And I'm just looking at the fact that right now when you get fertilizer, the price of fertilizer has gone up. So I feel like that's also an advantage. We're not using fertilizer, but we're just using natural things. So there are just a lot of young people out there who are planning to start businesses. What are other important things that they need to consider when they want to start a
That's a question of the Emiliano Malangeni. I think my main thing that I always say is don't start a business to make money. Don't, I mean, of course, yes, I mean, sorry, let me rephrase that. Yes, of course, your business needs to become sustainable, because if you are not sustainable, then you won't be able to grow your business and help people or your purpose on the way. But what I'm saying is that don't let it be the first reason why you start a business, because the things are going to get tough eventually. That's any entrepreneur will going to tell you it's not an easy path. It's not an easy choice. It's a very interesting and fulfilling choice eventually, but it's not easy. So if you are into starting your business just because you want to make money, then the moment things get tough, and they will get tough, you won't have a lot of incentive to continue your business. Because if it's only making money and there's not a true sort of calling, something in your heart that you really believe in doing that will push the business forward, the moment you get any sort of challenges, you will decide just to drop it. So I think the first thing in this case that you need if you want to start a business is get an idea that has a concept that you believe is going to work, something that it's needed in the market, whether it's because in the case of Black Mamba, because we felt it was needed for the rural communities of Eswatini, and we could manage to feel that there were people looking for ethically produced food that might not be getting what they needed out of the offer in the market. So we found a gap in the market in terms of the people that we wanted to support and benefit, which is the rural communities, and also the potential market that we had. So that was a proof of concept. Second, something that is close to your heart, something that you're passionate about. So if you're passionate about, I don't know, technology, so then just do something that is related to technology. If you're passionate about development, something that kind of like targets that passion that you have. You're passionate about, I don't know, I'm thinking of furniture, and you love how to make furniture. So like just start finding something that is related to your passion. And I would say the other thing that I always consider very important is either have some skills that you've developed. So for instance, as I said before, in my case, I'm quite strong in marketing. That's sort of my superpower for the business, I always say. But maybe your superpower is mathematics, or maybe your superpower is the financial side, or maybe is the product development. So try to figure out what you're really good at doing, and try to find the additional people that can help you in what you're not good at doing. Because being an entrepreneur is also a very lonely journey. And if you can find someone that you trust that has complementary skills of what you have, that's already part of the game, already done. You know, in my case, I started my business with my husband. He doesn't work full time on Black Mamba, but he was very instrumental at the beginning to get the sort of look and feel for the brand. He's a graphic designer. So he helped me a lot on that part while I was focusing on the development side of the business. So it's very important that you find somebody that you have affinity with. And eventually, I would say it also makes sense when you can get and that's something that you're going to ask at some point. At some point, you're going to need money. So funding is important. So whether it's your own savings, we all start with our own savings, then we start asking money to our family and friends because they're the only ones that are going to trust us with our crazy dreams. And then when you're a little bit more organized, you can obviously look for banks to support you via loans or grants, depending on the sort of business that you have. Like in Eswatini, there are a lot of organizations that support you on that growth. You know, I'm thinking APA, sorry, from the top of my head, or SETCO, or SWIFT, that are organizations that are really pushing for entrepreneurs in the country. So trying to figure out what is the best way for you to find the funding that you need eventually and get an idea of a business plan. Not necessarily because you need that to start your business. You don't really need it to start. In order to start a business, you need an idea that has proof of concept and a passion to do it, to make it work. Everything else comes after. But on the comes after, it's quite nice to actually figure out from your business plan, okay, where do I see my business growing in the future? Where am I going to be in 10 years down the line? What is the mission? What is the purpose that I have? So having those things clear in your head and then you put it on a business plan, for me is more like an exercise, a mental exercise of really seeing the potential and really see the future and focus your strategy towards where you want to be. One day is what you are today, but I want to be the best hot sauce in the world. I want to replace Tabasco and Sriracha. So you have that very, very clear in your head, and that's where you're going to be targeting to all the time, basically.
Oh, that's very interesting. From what you just mentioned, you spoke about your husband assisting you. So there's a question, I think, that what influence does it have on building the company?
Sorry?
What influence does branding have on the company?
Oh my God, you're asking the person that lives for branding. I would say, again, it depends on what you are trying to bring to the world. I am trying to bring Black Mamba as a brand that makes difference, fun and fiery, African, sustainable. Yeah, those are my three sort of like core engagements. But this is me willing to sell a brand and not a product. Maybe where you're interested, there's a lot of businesses out there very successful that focus on commodities. So, you know, you might be a business, you might be a bean grower, and you're interested just to selling bulk of your beans. So in that case, branding is important, of course, because you want to get your product known, but it might not be as important as a business that want to create a brand. It could be also depending on who your buyer is. If your buyer is another business, the way you do branding is very different. When your buyer is the end consumer that will buy Black Mamba, I need to make sure that Black Mamba is always on top of mind. I need to make sure that he knows or she knows that we exist. And I need to make sure that all the time, constantly give them the reasons why they want to purchase Black Mamba. So for a brand or for a business that is based on creating a brand, I would say branding is essential. And branding as creating a cohesive representation of your values, of your, I mean, you call it a marketing persona, actually, which is like you really want to know who is that person that is going to buy from my product and what are the key elements that I need to have on my brand for that person to be interested in my product. So there's a lot of exercises that you do in marketing for that, just to say you don't market to everybody. There is no such thing as a market. There are segments, and you need to figure out which is that segment that really wants your offer, your service, of your product. And then you start doing your branding. So again, I would say more than the branding is what you do with it. Don't forget that one of the biggest brands in the world is a tiny little apple in a computer, and everything that is an apple. So it's not what you name your product, it's what actually it becomes and what you do with that first initial approach that makes a difference. From the Black Mamba perspective, branding is essential. I always tell my team, we don't sell chili sauce, people, we sell Black Mamba. We sell a lifestyle, we sell a concept of sustainability. So that's what we are promoting. We're not promoting chili sauce. I want people to remember the name of Black Mamba associated to certain values. So for us, it's essential, but I don't think it's as essential for every business space.
That makes sense. And I'm not going to lie, when I just looked at your website, looking at that Mamba, I felt like, wow, this is just so inspiring. Even if you don't want to buy you being that looking at the chili, looking at the chutney from the book, you just say that I want to buy this product.
Oh, thank you.
This is just going to take us to the next question. Like, how can entrepreneurs reduce risk?
How can entrepreneurs
Reduce risk.
Sorry, I didn't understand that part, Zama. The audio is really bad. I'm sorry.
Okay, it's okay. How can entrepreneurs reduce risk? Like, what ideas do you have or what does one to have a successful return?
Ideas for entrepreneurs. So for them to start their own businesses. Yes. Oh my God. I don't know. I don't know if some people get what you call the light bulb moment, like I get a lot of people that started businesses when they went to look for something and then they can't find it in the market. And it's very frustrating. It's like, why can't I find in the supermarket this product? And then you have the little light bulb image here by your brain. It's like, oh, nobody's doing that. Or why can it be easier for people to look for a place to stay when they go to a different country? And then all of a sudden you have Airbnb. Or how can I just make sure that I can actually get some sort of, transport medium in a city that is affordable, that is convenient, and then all of a sudden you have Uber. So most of the ideas for entrepreneurs come from looking at something in the market that is missing, and it might be something that is missing even for them. So that's one thing that would actually work. And obviously, if it's missing for them, that means that it's already something close to your heart. It's like, I really feel that the market needs this and I am good at doing this. So that could be one of the first ideas that you get. Other things that you can do, and it's something that we do a lot in Black Mamba now, is we have a brand, but we need to constantly create products. Like it's not like, oh, I have my range of chili sauces and I just can sit and relax and start trying to sell it everywhere. Every single time I talk to one of my distributors, they're like, oh, so what's new? And you're like, what do you mean what's new? It's like, new products? Excuse me. And you're like, oh, I need to start developing things. So constantly be on the lookout for new things and observing and asking questions, being curious. I am subscribed to a million newsletters of food trends because I want to know what's happening there. I want to see what we can do out of the things that are happening. For instance, we developed our extra hot peri peri because there is a huge growth on people that want what you call the super hot chilies. So it's not your normal cayenne, your normal jalapeno. They're starting to look into very specific chilies called Carolina Reapers or Scorpion or Ghost Peppers. And there is a very niche market, a very interesting market for that. So what do Black Mamba does? Black Mamba develops a product with a super hot because there is a market that is requiring that. So ideas for entrepreneurship could come because of you realize that straight away you have your aha moment and something is missing because you're curious and you're always looking at what's there and asking questions and see, oh, maybe this could work, maybe this couldn't work. The serial entrepreneurs, that's what they do. They literally are looking all the time for things they can launch. And the good thing about entrepreneurship and the bad thing as well is that a lot of them fail. But failing as an entrepreneur is not really failing. It's actually learning for your next entrepreneurial venture. So I've been very lucky because I'm an accidental entrepreneur, but a lot of my friends that are entrepreneurs have now something successful after 3 or 4 times that they've tried. And it didn't work out, but I've learned a lot and I'm trying again with something similar or not, but something that I believe is going to have traction. And every time you learn more. There's a lot of spaces in Eswatini. If you think about it, I believe there's a lot of spaces for food. We don't have a lot of nice local brands of food. Little by little, I'm seeing more developments on, for instance, on the peanut butter side. I've seen like really nice sort of up and coming brands or more on the bakery. You know, there's this amazing business called Batter Bakes that started doing bakery for people with health issues, like, you know, when you cannot gluten intolerant or something that are different. So it's a great sort of idea. It's like something that is close to your heart, but you believe it's a need in the market for that. But on the food space, because that's where I move the most, I see, compared to what we have in South Africa, there's like a myriad of brands there that are doing amazing specialty foods, and we have so much to do still there. So that's a big space to start thinking, for instance. Technology as well. I believe in the country. I was looking, talking to the, how do you call, the Royal Eswatini. So what they have on the biotech park, where they have some of a hub for development of ideas and technologies. That is something that we haven't done much in the country either. And I think the world is going there. There's apps that are very specific for just helping in a specific part of the market that have been sold for millions and millions of dollars. So just getting an idea, turn it into an app that is going to make an industry better, that is going to make the life better of other people on health, fintech, edutech, health tech. It's the spaces that are having a lot of development and a lot of potential to do. So I think it's just a matter of being tuned with what's around you and see what the world is there doing, and getting that little bulb moment. It's like, this is a good idea. I'm going to work on it.
So that's shared a lot of ideas, and I think there is young people out there that just grab a few.
Just writing down. This is good.
That's just a lot. Thank you so much for joining us. From our group, don't see any questions, and I assume everyone is finding the questions that they sent. And I hope if ever that just have any questions, they're just going to put them on the comment section. But we just have one last question. Where and how can we find any of your products,
Oh, thank you. That's a great question. And me being a marketing person, I can't believe I even said anything about it. Oh my God. So in Eswatini, we have two shops, one in Malandelas and one in the Swazi Candles complex. But we also available, all our range of products is available in all the Pick and Pays, all the Spars, OK Foods, and we're listing with shop right now. So basically, we want to become the chili sauce of the country. Like people would used to ask Tabasco in the 80s and for Sriracha in the 90s. We want people not to go and ask, oh, bring me the chili sauce, but bring me the Black Mamba. So I need to bring it to everybody's attention. So that's in the country. In South Africa, we are listed in all the franchise Pick and Pays and Spars at the moment, and Food Lovers Market. And we also have a really nice website, blackmambachili.com, where if you're in South Africa, you can order online and you can get your Black Mamba delivered to your door, because obviously, God forbids, we don't want you to miss your hot fix that we can bring to you. And then we are exporting at the moment to Germany, to the United States, to Norway, to Taiwan, and again, trying to bring and raise the Eswatini flag very high and bringing good quality product that is proudly Swazi to the world.
Thank you so much. There's so much from that. Thank you so much, Claudia. We've come to the end of the session. Is there anything that you'd like to share with the audience?
I would like just to close by obviously thanking you for inviting me here. It's also it's very exciting. I am always mentoring and nurturing the entrepreneurs of the future, because it is us guys that actually run the economy. There are big businesses, but the big businesses don't have the potential of changing the world like you can. It's important for economies to create employment, to uplift disadvantaged communities. Like Black Mamba is a business that works mostly with women, and there's a reason behind it. So you can have the potential to change someone else's life and your own life. It's going to be obstacles. Sorry, I got disconnected for 2 seconds. I was just saying, it's a very exciting journey. It's very challenging, it's very exciting. But if you're thinking about becoming an entrepreneur, I don't think you will regret it. You need to be resilient and perseverant, but it's a fulfilling journey, basically.
Thank you so much for those encouraging words. Thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate what you just shared with us. I hope the audience has learned a lot from you. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
We appreciate that. Thank you so much, the audience. We hope to see another session that we'll be having next week. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.